In the sterile chaos of Seattle's Harborview Medical Center, where lives hung in the balance, the hospital staff worked tirelessly. Unaware that one of their own carried a deadly secret, Dr. Elias Kane, a quiet doctor with a steady hand, was more than he seemed, a former Special Forces operative hiding in plain sight. When a crisis erupted in the hospital's halls on a fateful night, his past would collide with his present, revealing a hero no one saw coming and a truth that would leave them stunned. The emergency room at Harborview Medical Center buzzed with controlled chaos on the night of July 23, 2025. Machines beeped. Nurses darted between beds, and the air smelled of antiseptic and urgency. Dr. Elias Kane, 38, moved through the with calm precision, his dark eyes scanning patient charts, his hands steady as he stitched a wound. To his colleagues, he was a reliable but reserved doctor, always volunteering for night shifts. His past a blank slate, he never discussed Elias. With his close-cropped black hair and lean build blended into the hospital's rhythm, he joined Harborview 2 years ago, claiming a burnout story from a Chicago practice. His colleagues, nurse Mia Torres, 30, and Dr. Rachel Patel, 35, liked him but knew little beyond his dry humor and knack for staying cool under pressure. "Elias is like a machine," Mia once said, laughing. "No family, no drama, just work." Tonight, the OWA's slammed car accident victims, a flu outbreak, and a suspected overdose. Elias was suturing a teenager's arm when Mia rushed in. "Code Black, Elias," she whispered, her face pale. "Armed intruder in the West Wing, security's down." The hospital's lockdown alarm blared, a low wail that froze the staff. Patients whimpered, and Rachel locked the trauma bay doors. Her hands shaking, the intruder, a man in a black hoodie, had breached the hospital's West Wing, where the pharmacy stored high-value drugs. Security cameras showed him wielding a pistol, holding 2 guards hostage. The police were en route, but Seattle traffic meant a 15-minute delay time the hospital didn't have. The man's demands crackled over a stolen radio. "Give me the Oxycodone or I start shooting." Elias, overhearing the radio in the trauma bay, exchanged a glance with Mia. "Stay here," he said, his voice low but firm. Before she could protest, he slipped out, moving silently through the dimly lit halls. Rachel hissed, "Elias, you're not security." But he was already gone, his movements too precise, too purposeful for a civilian doctor. In the West Wing, the intruder, a wiry man named Vince, paced near the pharmacy, his gun trained on the trembling guards. Elias approached from a side corridor, his hospital badge clipped to his scrubs, his hands raised. "Hey, I'm just a doctor," he said, his voice calm. "Let's talk. No one needs to get hurt." Vince's eyes narrowed. "Back off, Doc. Or you're dead." But Elias's gaze was steady, calculating, as if sizing up an enemy. He stepped closer, his hands still raised, his body language deceptively relaxed. In a blur, Elias moved. With one fluid motion, he disarmed Vince, twisting the gun from his grip and pinning him to the floor. The guards gasped, scrambling to safety. As Elias secured Vince's wrists with a zip tie from a nearby supply cart. "Stay down," Elias said, his voice cold, authoritative, a tone his colleagues had never heard. Mia and Rachel, watching from a security feed in the trauma bay, stared in disbelief. "Who is he?" Mia whispered. Elias radioed the police, his words clipped. "Suspect neutralized, West Wing secure." When officers arrived, they found Vince subdued, Elias calmly handing over the gun like it was routine. Back in the Elias returned to his patients, his face unreadable. Mia cornered him in the break room, her arms crossed. "Elias, what was that?" "You took down an armed guy like it was nothing." Elias sighed, rubbing his neck. "I used to be Special Forces," he admitted, his voice low. "Retired 5 years ago, wanted a quiet life. Didn't think I'd need those skills here." He explained briefly, a decade in covert ops, missions he couldn't discuss, a decision to leave after too much loss. Medicine was his redemption, a way to save lives instead of taking them. Rachel, overhearing, shook her head. "You've been stitching wounds by day and, disarming gunmen by night." "Why didn't you tell us?" Elias shrugged. "Didn't want to be that guy, just wanted to be Dr. Kane." The hospital buzzed with the news, staff whispering about the doctor, who took down a gunman. An ex-post from a nurse went viral. Our doc's a freaking commando. Saved us all. #HarborViewHero. Patients thanked Elias, but he brushed it off, focusing on his charts. Mia and Rachel, now seeing him in a new light, pressed for details. But Elias deflected with a wry smile. Buy me coffee and maybe I'll tell you about the time I didn't defuse a bomb. The hospital administration, after reviewing security footage, offered Elias a commendation, which he declined. Just doing my job, he said, though his job now included a new respect from colleagues. The police arrested Vince, uncovering his ties to a local drug ring, thanks to Elias's quick action. That night, Elias sat alone in the break room, staring at a photo on his phone, a younger him in fatigues, smiling with a team he'd lost. Mia joined him, sliding a coffee across the table. "You're still one of us," she said, hero or not. By morning, Elias was back in the suturing a patient's laceration, his hands as steady as ever. The staff's awe faded into camaraderie, their trust in him deeper. He didn't share more about his past, but his quiet presence felt different, stronger, not just in skill, but in spirit. In Seattle's relentless pulse, where crises never slept, Dr. Elias King carried his secret lightly, a shadow of his former self woven into the healer he'd become. The hospital, once unaware of the warrior among them, now knew heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear scrubs.